All right, Super Slot 75 movie reviews. This is the movie review for Aquaman. Shout out to DC for finally getting it right again. So we have the first hit with Wonder Woman. Second hit, this is definitely, I think it's going to be a bigger hit than, well, maybe it may not make as much money monetarily as Wonder Woman, but I think the tone and the setting and it's another brick in the house for DC comic book films. I think this is going to have a bigger impact than Wonder Woman, just in my opinion. I'm happy to see that Zack Snyder got his executive producer credit for this movie. I'm still Team Zack all day, so I'm happy about that. This was a great flick, start to finish. Great flick. Visually, wow, James Wan moving from horror to comic book movies so effortlessly and not missing a beat. No issues with not feeling like a fish out of water, moving from genre to a smaller genre to a bigger genre like this. Wow, James Wan deserves all the credit. So let's get right into it. Basically, it's an origin story, but it's not a story we haven't heard before. You know, the bastard son of some king, you know, looking for his rightful place amongst his bloodline, younger or older siblings not taking kindly to the bastard kid, whatever. We've heard this story before, just not in this spun tales of sort. But Queen Atlanta runs away from her arranged marriage, ends up on the fisherman, Arthur's house, the lighthouse. They fall in love. They have Arthur. Arthur learns of his bloodline. Queen Atlanta's the husband sends the troops looking for her to send her back. She decides to go back out of the fear of safety for her man and Arthur. Arthur grows up confused, longing for a place, looking for his identity. Because half of his identity he doesn't know about. Vulko teaches him the ways and means of Atlanteans. They get into the history of Atlantis. 7 tribes, rather. They got greedy with technology, destroyed themselves pretty much, almost like a Man of Steel with the whole Krypton. They, harnessed the Earth's core, destroyed, basically got too advanced for their own good and destroyed their own kind to a certain extent. So they broke off into 7 tribes. Some ascended, others regressed, like the crustaceans, like the kingdom of the brine, and then you had the creatures from the Mariana Trench, and then others ascended like the fishermen. And the only issues I had with the fishermen, Jaimin Hunsu, for those that don't know, Jaimin Hunsu was the king of the fishermen. He literally was in the movie for 4 minutes. He gets killed by King Orm. Okay, so King Orm has plans to want to take on the Earth, or the surface dwellers. He needs 4 of the 7 tribes of Atlantis to agree to make him Ocean Master. He concocts a plan with Black Manta and his father to forge an attack, or fake an attack, against a meeting with him and King Nexus, played by Dolph Lundgren. Very well played by Dolph Lundgren. This is one of Dolph's best roles, period, ever on screen. This is his role. He owns this. So I hope to see him in a sequel. And so he convinces King Nexus to go to merge with his alliance and try to convince the other kingdoms to join his alliance to attack the surface dwellers. Meanwhile, Arthur is still on top, searching and longing, doing good things. We first have his first encounter meeting with Black Manta and his father. It's the submarine scene during the melee when Arthur saves the Russian sailors. It's just Manta and his father. They go at it. Of course, they both lose. Somehow, Manta's father shoots a grenade launcher. Somehow, explosion. He gets pinned by a torpedo. Black Manta's like, yo, help me save my father. And Arthur's like, yo, your father's done all this and this and this. Asks the sea for mercy. Leads them basically both to die. So Manta's father is like, hey, get out of here. You can't help me. Of course, Manta's torn. Then, Manta's father blows himself up, sadly. But it was good to see Michael Beach back on the big screen. For those that don't remember who Michael Beach was, Michael Beach played the infamous character on Soul Food, the husband to Vanessa Williams' character that slept with the cousin. Michael Beach has been in a lot of TV, a lot of films, so it's good to see that brother back on a big screen in a pretty good sizable role, in a good supporting role. I like the dynamic, the father-son dynamic between Manta and his father, and then they made a reference to their grandfather, his father being one of the first Navy frogmen. Okay, moving on. So then, Manta's off somewhere, right? Then we get back. So then Mera shows up. Mera's like, yeah, you gotta stop this war. You're the only one that can do it. Of course, Arthur's full of self-doubt, loathing. Doesn't want to be involved. Doesn't want to take his rightful place. Yada yada yada. So they go on this adventure to find the trident of King Aten, right? The original trident holder. The trident was forged by the great forge masters, some type of Neptunian steel. Okay, so they gotta find the trident. And then, Mera and Arthur bond gets closer and closer, but then Mera takes Arthur back to Atlantis. This is where he meets his half-brother, King Orm, for the first time. They kind of duke it out, and he gets his mother's trident broken, and he kind of gets his ass handed to him in the first go-around. So then, come to find out that Mera is married to King Orm, and then Mera is the daughter of King Nexus. So everything's arranged, all arranged marriages like most powerful entities and conglomerates do. All right, so then they're discovered. Okay, so no, before they're discovered, Valko, Mera, and Arthur hatch a plan to find the trident. Okay, so Valko's been kind of playing both sides of the fence. He is King Orm's vizier, right? At the same time, he pledged a secret oath to Queen Atlanta to always take care and watch over Arthur. Okay, so they adventures. Then it's revealed that King Orm has been in cahoots with Black Manta. He gives Black Manta some Atlantean technology to help take out Arthur. Black Manta, being the genius that he is, concocts and crafts his suit from the Atlantean armor. The suit looked awesome. He catches up to Arthur and Mera in Sicily, and they have a little duke out. Well, it's more than a duke out. It was a pretty good scene, bunch of action scenes. So then Black Manta in his armor, Atlantean suit, whatever, takes on Arthur. It's a pretty good back and forth, but then of course Arthur gets the best of him. The suit's heavily damaged, and then Black Manta falls off the cliff. He's not dead. Okay, he falls off the cliff, off the scene, off the camera. Okay, so then Arthur and Mera make their way to the Marianas Trench, fight off the trench creatures. They find a portal. They go into the portal, and they end up at the core of the earth, a hidden beach, right? So at the core of the earth, hidden beach. Come to find out, Queen Atlanta never died. There was always a rumor, or they suspected that they sent her to the Mariana Trench to be sacrificed to the creatures. She never died. She went through the portal and been surviving for the last 20 years. So that's where she's been. And so Atlanta saves Mera. Arthur comes in contact with his mother. They have a rekindling, reunion. Okay, and so then she tells him, hey, you got the tridents through that way, and it's being guarded by a creature called the Karaba, and he goes to fight Karaba. Arthur has the ability to speak to the ocean life, as demonstrated in the trailers and earlier on in the scene. When he was a little boy, he's able to speak to the fish, and then the Karaba's like, oh, no mortal's ever been able to communicate with me. And half-breed mongrel, yada yada yada. Okay, go try and see if you can remove the trident from his grip, from King Aten's death grip. He gets the trident, comes back, and by then King Orm had moved on to the King Fisherman tribe, killed the King Fisherman, which is Jaimin Hunsu, forces his daughter to say, join my alliance, we're going to war. Okay, so then they're going to war against the Kingdom of the Brine, which would be like the crustaceans, the crab people, because they don't want to acquiesce to King Orm's demands. Huge battle ensues. You got everyone's riding freaking tigers, sharks, and hammerhead. Valko's on a hammerhead shark. But before then, King Orm discovers that Valko has been playing both sides of the fence and arrests Valko for being a traitor. So then a war ensues between the Kingdom of the Brine and Orm's and Nexus's and the King Fisherman's combined armies. It was awesome. Crustaceans versus seahorses and sharks. Holy cow. Big ass crabs. It was awesome. Then Arthur shows up on top of the Carabas, the big ass creature that was guarding the trident. So then he gets to wreck and shop with the Carabas, and then they go after King Orm. Him and Arthur and King Orm had a one final last battle. Of course, fittingly so, Arthur breaks King Orm's father's trident. He's a defeated man. Then but Atlanta shows up, their mother, and she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't, I love you both. You were misguided. We can be, we could be one. The land and sea are not two worlds. They are one and the same." So then, he gets hauled off to prison. And before they haul him off, Arthur says, "Hey, when you're ready to talk, I'm ready to listen," whatever the case may be. Because during their first encounter, Arthur admitted that he always wanted to know what his little brother was like and how he grew up, and wanted to meet him, all this extra stuff before he called him a dick. Okay. Post-credit scene. You see Black Manta's suit just heavily damaged, found by some Chinese fishermen, and then he's recuperating, and then the Chinese guy, the little smart guy, is tinkering with the suit, and he says, "Hey, I wouldn't do that if I were you," and then he shoots a blast. He's like, "Oh, this is Atlantean technology." He says, "Yeah, I help you fix it if you help me find Aquaman." Throws a knife at the picture of Aquaman. There's some parts I'm missing, but that's pretty much the major gist of Aquaman. It was fantastic. Go see this thing in 3D. Go see it in 3D. Go see it in 3D. DC is back. Hopefully they don't rush the next set of projects coming out. I'm looking forward to Shazam, and of course Wonder Woman in 1984 next year. So I think DC should really pump their brakes and kind of just take one picture at a time as far as rebuilding and rebranding their DCU EU universe. But this is another step in the right direction for DC. So shout out to what Zack Snyder has laid out to us 5-6 years ago. His shadow still looms large in the world of DC. That's it for me. Super Slot 75 movie reviews with a twist. You guys have a good one. Peace.